All right, Mama, here we go. Boss engine has set all night. Temperature's just right. Let's make it blue. All right, Mama, just like that. The Boss is blue. So let me show you something interesting. So yesterday, when this car initially came to me last year, it had been sitting for like 42 years. And I took the brake drums off of the back, glanced in there, and it looked like everything was new, even the wheel cylinders. So we did put new brake lines and blasted underneath and put new wheels and tires, and if you followed it, you know everything that we did. Well, the rear end started leaking, and so yesterday we took the pumpkin section out and we took the pinion section out. But you know, to get to that, you got to pull all the brake stuff out. Well, Dylan put the center section back in because we were able to get a gasket for it, but the pinion section has got an O-ring and I had to order it. And I thought, well, he'll be able to work today and go ahead and get all the brakes and stuff put back together. Well, the client had told me that it was kind of grabby, you know, sometimes the rear end. So I checked with the rear end guy, and he said that was because it had the Ford track pack, I think's what they called it. He said sometimes they'll grab. But, you know, we put the differential fluid and stuff in it to keep that pack soft. But anyway, someone had put both the short shoes on the driver's side. And you could see in the drums where it had been grabbing. Now, will it be smoother when we put back? I hope so, because you're supposed to have a short shoe in the front and a long shoe in the back. Well, both of these are your short shoes, and over there where we tore it down on the passenger side, they had the two long shoes. So that could have been the grabbing. The two long shoes would have filled up that drum area too much, so that when you dust and stuff starts breaking down off of the pads, it grabs. So not only was this one done like that, the Ford truck that we're fixing to sell, it was like that. It had missing hardware. The 68 Chevelle that we're working on was bad. They had the short shoes on the wrong side. The 69 Camaro that we done a few weeks ago they were done the same thing. They had the short shoes on the wrong side. So 4 vehicles back to back here lately have had the short and the long shoes on the wrong side. Mama, you can't make this stuff up. So anyway, y'all stay tuned. I appreciate y'all watching. We're gonna let that engine dry, and we'll try to get things back together soon. All right, we're back. We got new brakes and hardware and all on the Boss. As you can see, it's got a short shoe on the front, long shoe on the back. Now, I want to give a big shout out to a guy that watched the channel and corrected me. And I am by no means a mechanic. We do what we know how to do, but in the previous video I said you needed to remove this, to remove that. I was wrong. He pointed out to me that hole right there, you can use it to take loose every bolt and slide the axle out without pulling the shoes off. And looks like I see that I was wrong, and I told him that I really appreciated it, but I want to make it public so that when others hear this, you know, he corrected me in a nice way. Now, I seen where his message had been edited. I don't know if he had said something ugly in the beginning or, you know, called me stupid or whatever. But anyway, I took his correction to heart, and I appreciate it because I was wrong. Because look at the time that would save to go through and get that bolt loose and pull that axle out. I seen the hole in the end of the axle, but I was so astounded that this is the fourth car that we've gotten in that the brakes, you know, like one side had the long pads and one side had the short pads. It was just overwhelming, and I didn't think. Now, would I have ever noticed it? Maybe if I had done a couple of them, but I didn't. He was right, I was wrong, and I appreciate the correction. So the pumpkin and all's back in. We put some, I don't know where the sealant's at. Right there it is. It's just for rear ends, so that the positive traction unit stuff will not eat it up and cause it to leak. Once it's all back together, we'll take and trim that gray that's squished out, and then we'll spray a little black around it if it still shows. I don't think it'll show. But the pinion, which is right here, we are waiting. I keep tripping over that thing. That thing right there is causing me trouble this morning. We're waiting on that seal to come in, that O-ring for the pinion to slide back in. This morning, I'm going to put the intake on this Boss. I've got it cleaned up, and I'm going to tell you, a new intake looks like, well, he's got stuff stacked over his, I ain't going to unstack it. Y'all know what a new intake looks like. They're a little bit lighter gray than that. If you blast them, kind of turns a white looking. But this right here, VHT flat aluminum, SP117. It looks as close to a new intake as you can get without blasting. Because like I said, the blasting, you can tell that it has been blasted. If you've ever seen one, you know the difference. This here has 2 light coats of that flat aluminum. Now, if someone touches it when you're putting it together, it'll clean right up to where all my other intakes that I've had in the past, when they're raw aluminum, if you touch them with sweaty hands, the salt in your body will cause spots. And so we try to prevent that as much as possible. So when we go to put a new intake on that is in raw aluminum, we wear gloves. But like this right here, which this one's going to be installed out of the car, so it's not going to be a big deal as far as handling wise. But if we were putting it on in the car and your hands touch it, you haven't got to worry about it leaving a brown spot from the oil in your skin. Now, the only downfall that I see with doing this is if you were to wipe it or spray it down with any grease and wax remover, the grease and wax remover that we use from O'Reilly's will remove the paint. It will soften it up, and when you drag the rag through it, it will leave like little chatter marks where it tries to stick and slip, stick and slip, stick and slip. So anyway, that's an update for this morning. Saturday, Dylan broke into his, as you can see. It's a small block Ford, 302, aluminum heads, roller rockers. We got to stick the borescope down in there and see what it's stamped. Might be able to read it from the bottom by turning it over. But it is a boost engine. It's for turbo, supercharger, blower, whatever you want. It's built for up to 12 pounds of boost. So, are we going to boost it? No, I don't think so. But you never know. It's got a pretty radical cam in it, 500 some lift cam that is 4 boost. They've got a very, very good sound. I mean, a very radical, quick popping sound. And you can see he's got his parts and all lined up over here. Got to get this thing built. This will be going in the red Mustang that he bought. Something to pick it up. You know what I mean? And I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all stay tuned. What do you think, Mama? It's in. Engine's in. We got the clutch, pressure plate and all in. We need a transmission. All right, Mama. Should be able to see the transmission down in there. Transmission in, engine in, cross member and all's back in, blah, 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 blah. Y'all know how it goes. We're going to call it a day for today. Maybe we can come in tomorrow and pretty much try to wrap this thing up. Got a couple little errands to run. But it's back in, hallelujah. Just a bunch of little bitty things. Plus the O-ring's supposed to be in tomorrow for this pinion. Oh. Pinion. O-ring. Y'all have a good evening.